Good evening, good afternoon, and maybe even good morning, Speedgaming. We are coming back to you here with some Metroid Fusion content on this Monday night. From what I'm told, we've got a big race. Gonna have in one corner Flashfrost and in the other corner ronaldrage. These two have been going back and forth trading PBs, getting those bops on one another. And we are looking to get a good race here. Our runners are in process of getting readied up. And chat, for those of you who are here already, what do you want to see in this race? Any tricks we're hoping to see? Who do we want to win? If this were rando, I'd say what do we want to see first, but this is vanilla, so we're going to start with missiles. And at the moment, it looks like we are just waiting for our runners to finish getting set up. So we should be ready to go right at about 8 o'clock here. And we have both of our runners readied up here, so once we hit 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, we're going to drop the gate and our runners will be ready to go. With that, let's go ahead and get our layout swapped over. Looks like we're just waiting on a technical issue for one of our runners to ready up. But we will be getting going here shortly. All right, our runners have readied up, so we're looking at about 45 seconds here until we get this running. Hope everyone's here ready to see a fast race between two very competitive runners here. I know I sure am. Right, and the race is in progress. We just have about, I think about 45 seconds of delay here to wait to catch this up. And the countdown begins. And you all know the drill. We are here playing Metroid Fusion 100%. We're in the pools stage, so we have 4 pools of 4 doing round robin. Top 2 come out into a bracket. We're playing 100% Metroid Fusion. That means we need to go get all of the items. That's all 20 energy tanks, all of the missiles, all 74 power bombs. I don't even know numbers. If anyone was watching earlier today, you might know that Hundo is not my category of choice, but I digress. Getting off through the initial climb, just syncing up the streams. Both of our runners taking a couple of different routes to go up this initial climb, with Flash getting through slightly ahead here, following the adventures of everyone's favorite repairwoman, Samus Aran. As she's coming to the station, she's going to have to go do a bunch of repairs, and the biggest thing that we're going to be repairing here is doors. We love fixing doors, and we'll talk about that in a second. That said, our runners are just going to investigate, and we're going to see the very beginning of the problem. Jumping to get rid of that horn node, get back to the data room, and get the show on the road. And here we see a lot of text. One of the main complaints people had about this game when it came out is just the large amount of dealing with Adam and how slow it can go. We play in Japanese because the Japanese text goes much more quickly, and there's a lot of technique that goes into mashing through these text boxes a little bit more quickly. Because if you're pressing 2 buttons at the same time, it won't clear the text box and move on. However, if you time it just right, you can clear the text boxes a little bit faster and then hold buttons to make the text go through. In general, we're going to want to see Samus staying on the ground as much as possible. She's twice as fast on the ground as in the air. But of course, this game's going to throw a bunch of jumps at us to make us go through that a little bit more quickly. And we've got the runners pretty synced up here in the data room with Flashfrost with a very slight early lead. But we have a lot of hundo left to be played here. This is where I'll give a shout out to one of our category extensions that we have in the Metroid Fusion speedrunning community called Fastest Fusion, which is just a ROM hack that takes out all of this text, as well as fixing some of the RNG such as iDoors to make it a little bit more level of a playing field and save us a little bit of time as we go fast. Not something we're doing here, but just giving a shout out to a category that I'd like to see more runners running. And it looks like through missiles, Flash with about a 4-second lead here, looking at the difference on the timers. We'll see how long we can keep these runners synced up. Here we see the first items of the run, a couple of missile tanks, which we even get an any percent. We're going to want those soon as we are coming up very quickly. Going to be under the 5-minute mark, getting into the first boss of the run, Arachnus. And these iDoors can throw each time between 0 and 4 beams at us. We want 0 because we can only shoot it when there's no beam blocking the eye. Flash the first through the door. Ron just getting absolutely awful luck. A lot of people count how many beams that we get through the course of the run. I'm not good at counting, so we're not doing that today. But I'm sure someone in chat will remember. But here we've got Arachnus, and the goal is to pump it with 150 damage worth of missiles, so that's 15 missiles. Then we need to get 3 shots into the core, Flash getting a double as it was spawning, and then getting a nice sweet spot kill on the core to save a little bit of time picking up the item. Ron getting 1 roll, it looks like. Also getting the double, not quite a sweet spot, but still getting through the Arachnus fight quickly, and both of our runners on the way out by the 5-minute mark. Flash extending the lead slightly here, but we've got a lot of game left to go. And here we finally get our first divergence from the any percent route, picking up the extra 5 missiles in the cubbyhole. This makes Sector 1 a little bit more pleasant to go through, as Sector 1 is all about missile management, making sure that we have enough by the time we get to the eye door to get through it. And having an extra 5 missiles gives us a little bit of extra leeway if we take some damage and don't get the drops that we would like. Who's this guy that looks a lot like Samus just stepping out of a hole in the wall? Seems a little ominous. I'm sure this won't be a problem though. And of course, we will get yet another set of Atom text boxes. Here we're telling the famous repair woman that she needs to go through and repair 5 stabilizers in Sector 1. Because if the atmospheric stabilizers are allowed to continue to be messed with, then we can get the station in, but we'll later find out are probably conditions just optimal for all kinds of chaos in the station. Flash doing a great job of getting the missiles positioned to get through that Garen without having to slow down. 3 missiles into Stabilizer 1, and positioning in order to pick up all of these, as many of these missile drops as we can. And Flash getting the strat, 4 missiles to take out 4 of the Hornodes in this room, get through, taking out the 5th one, and no damage. Unfortunately, this repair woman not fixing the door out of that room, but it's forgivable not to fix everything. Looks like Ron also nailing the E-Tank strat, taking a little bit of damage on the way out of the room. And now we've got Stabilizer 2 on screen. And it looks like Flash opting to go far enough to the right in the Stabilizer 3 room to be able to see the Stabilizer. Some runners you'll see starting to shoot the shots a little bit earlier, which saves some frames, however also carries more of a risk of missing shots. And Flash having full HP means that he's only going to be getting green X drops from the pirates climbing that room. And that's why we really try to avoid taking hits as we go through Sector 1. That way we can guarantee green X drops and have more missiles to be able to get through the pirate climb, get through the door, and try to get some doubles on this Ghidorah. For the first couple of the eye doors, there's a trick where you can do a spin jump with a missile as well as another missile to get them going at the same point in the hitbox to be able to get a double on the eye door. Unfortunately, Flash missing the double there, having to take 3 shots, but not getting too many beams in punishment. Ron just going for a single. Flash setting up for doubles on the core. With these cores, we try to have 2 missiles hit the hitbox at the same time so that we can register 2 hits. Each time we get a double, that saves 3 seconds on waiting for it to be invincible again. Flash has charge beam, and Ron hot on his heels here. Nice damage boost to get through and shoot Stabilizer 4. We're able to hit it with the charge beam, has 2 particles that each do 10 damage, as well as a melee flare that does an additional 6. Those stabilizers have 25 hit points, so if we can hit with all 3 pieces, they are out of it. And Flash has cleared stabilizer number 5, Ron coming into the room to do the same. So these runners still keeping very close pace with one another. Exactly what we'd expect with 2 runners who keep going back and forth with bopping one another and generally getting very similar times. Oh, Flash getting trolled by a zombie there. That's why you want to carry a charge shot there. That way you're able to pseudo screw it as Ron just shows off. And our runners about to be getting ready to go to Sector 2. Because this early in the game, Fusion still knows how to count. A ton going on as our runners just entering Sector 2. However, we are about to get into some really nice movement and some more divergence for the Hundo route versus the any % route. As we're going to have a couple of items here that if we don't get them the first time we go through, there's going to be a door that is destroyed and in the way and makes them much slower to get to later. But right now, even with very good tech smashing, these text boxes just like to eat up a bunch of our time. Clean Zoro hallway for Flash. Ron getting hit with one of the Zoros. Very easy to do in that room as you're trying to run in. Takes 2 missiles to take out these enemies. And they can be going left or right, so you have to react and get the missiles timed in a short window so that you hit it before it hits you. Instead, our runners have opened up their level 1 security locks, which will let them get into the data room for bombs. Ron threading the needle to climb down, Flash getting the very satisfying jump up to the data room and first to grab bombs. Just past the 14-minute mark. And we're going to immediately use this to pick up some missiles. By my count, Flash looks to have a 10-second lead at this point. Both of our runners remembering to get the missiles. This is not a missile pack that you want to miss, because you'll have to go all the way through the part that we're about to see in reverse later in the game to get up to this room, because it is not accessible any other way. The nice thing about this category is once we get out of Sector 1, we just never have to worry about ammo at any point, because we have more missiles than we know what to do with. In fact, a lot of times we will see entries into bosses that don't even bother to catch the red X for a refill. Okay, that bomb did connect. Just very clean movement going through Sector 2 from both of our runners here. Picking up the Blue Zoro's secret stash down here. Ron trying to set up. You can bomb the top missile or bomb block in that room, and if you're just fast enough, you can get out of the room without waiting. As Flash going through the Poyo Pillar room. Ron trying to set up the damage boost, unfortunately not getting turned around fast enough in time, so getting knocked back in the wrong direction. But both of our runners up to one of the biggest RNG gauntlets, especially with the early game, going into Zazabi. And there's Ron doing a door fix, so you'll notice at certain points in the run that Fusion will pause while they're going through a door transition in order to move a door up or down. So sometimes we'll jump through a door, as in real time that can save us a solid amount of time by lining up the door better so it doesn't take as long to line up in the transition. Both of our runners getting through the I-door RNG. Having Charge Beam fortunately means that we one-shot all of the I-doors going forward, so we don't have to worry about getting multiple cycles of beams. But we still can get up to 4 beams, wasting quite a bit of time. Zazabi here doesn't have traditional HP, it just takes 10 hits. Our runners will shoot. You can get, you have to do the increments of 2, 2, 2, and then 4. The charge shot is enough to do 2 hits if positioned correctly, but we'll see our runners head to their beds by firing a missile after it to make sure if one of the pieces of the charge shot tinks, at least a missile will hit. And RNG letting Ron actually through a little bit quicker, getting the double-double. Flash also with the double-double, and we've got that sync up with Ron taking the very slight lead here. Ron getting the door fix into the ouch room, both runners missing the ouch missile, a frame-perfect swag trick. I'm telling you, if Flash doesn't start fixing more of these doors, I might have to leave a bad Yelp review for his repair services. And we're up to SAX skip. Nothing bad has ever happened here. Flash not saving, opting to spend 8 seconds to just wait out the SAX leaving the room, allowing Ron 8 more seconds to catch up as a beautiful climb through Green Tower here. These cocoons have interesting properties and they snap Samus onto them, allowing us to act out much more quickly. For now, we are just exiting Sector 2. There are a lot of items that we're passing by, but we're going to get those a little bit later. You'll see Ron shooting right as he's getting up to the ledges, trying to do some shot cancels, which allows Samus to snap to the ledge and start moving a little bit more quickly. The downside is if you misposition them, you end up grabbing the ledge and losing time. So the real trick is just don't miss. Easy peasy. Just, don't watch any of my gameplay ever if you want to believe I think it's easy. With that said, we've been to Sector 1, we've been to Sector 2, so now it's time to go to Sector 4, because Fusion forgot how to count. It's okay, I'm sure Sector 3 is fine. Nothing bad will ever happen there. Now, one difference to note because of the strats that were used, because Ron did opt to get frozen as part of the SAX skip, he is down 3 energy tanks, whereas Flash is at full health here. Our runners will be picking up an E-tank, which comes with a full heal pretty quickly here, so won't be an issue for too long. But if Ron decides to just run into everything possible in Sector 4, he could end up in trouble. Nice jump extend by shooting and then race spinning in midair in order to stall just a little bit to let Samus get a little more horizontal distance. That enables a jump to be made that otherwise wouldn't be. And for a lot of our runners, Sector 4 is our favorite part of movement in the game. There are just so many little micro optimizations to do as we're going through here, where you'll see runners shooting off a lot of shots in very specific spots to get enemies out of our way. We're also dealing with underwater physics, which makes Samus move significantly more slowly. And Ron remembering to get the door fix into the Broken Bridge E-Tank room. Flash also remembering the door fix. Either of the runners getting the missile while falling into a morph strat to save a couple of frames in morphing into a ball. Our runners are looking to, anytime they're falling, if they want to be morphed, they want to morph within a couple of tiles of the ground, otherwise Samus has a bouncing animation. And both of our runners just showing off some great movement going through Sector 4 on the way to Ceres. Not a lot of fancy tech going on here, but just a lot of little things being done right. Now ideally with Ceres, you want to get a 2-round on the boss, even though the boss does have some of the best music in the game. There we see Ron with so much health and missiles, opting to run through the door before the Red X can spawn. Now Ceres has 50 hit points. We want to hit with both particles and a charged flare both times. Most of the patterns that we have, we know roughly where Ceres is going to end up being. Unfortunately, Ron a little bit out of position, taking a hit. And Flash the first one through phase 1, followed very quickly by Ron. Now we're on to the core. We want to manipulate the core into the middle of the room to get the last double so that we can try to sweet spot it, and as Ron shows off the sweet spot, enabling getting the core just a little bit more quickly. And it looks like with that, Flash has retaken a very slight lead here. Neither of our runner going for the unmorph strat to save a couple of frames in this room. And remembering to get the items here in the escape. You are not wrong, Brookoda. I'm actually impressed at how well these runners are synced up. I think their PBs are within seconds of each other too, so I expect to see this lead going back and forth quite a few times over the course of the run. And now our runners have to go finally let down the spicy water now that we've dealt with Ferris. And normally, in any percent, we would charge up a spark here so that we can get out of the room. And the missile pack under here is often referred to as missiles of shame because if you miss the spark, it is very difficult to avoid these getting out of the room. However, in Hundo, we actually have to pick up the missiles of shame. Yet another reason why does anyone run Hundo? The real reason is cleanup. Cleanup is absolutely cool. Now our runners have one item in the waterway to pick up on their way out of Sector 3. Flash getting the spark into the missile tank, Ron just going over it, missing by a couple of pixels. Neither runner going for the speed keep makes sense as it wastes a little bit of time to go for it and has no benefit, but that's flag being left on the table here. And now we've got more of everyone's favorite part of Metroid Fusion, tech smashing. Although now that we have Speed Booster and we can go fast, we do get to charge a spark into the navigation rooms, and once we finish talking to Adam, we're gonna just yeet ourselves right at the stairs so we can keep running, try to jump directly onto the elevator and activate it a couple of frames sooner. Metroid Fusion, for the most part, is very much a game of just a million little micro-optimizations. And honestly, if the length isn't a problem, great speed game to get into, because a lot of it comes down to just really solid execution and play. And now after 1, 2, and 4, the game realizes it can't count, so it sends us to Sector 3. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know what comes after Sector 3 in this game. If you know, you know. But that said, we have to unlock our next level of doors here in green doors. No speed keep for Flash, no speed keep for Ron. A speed keep being a trick where if you crouch the frame that you land, you're able to charge up a Shine Spark to go through, which I don't even know if it's useful in Hundo now that I think about it, because we have to come down and get this item in the Telltale Heart. Both runners opting to go up the right side from Telltale Heart. That gives just enough room to charge up the spark to be able to get into the data room. Flash still with the slight lead, but this sync. That is a 3.5 second lead by flashfrost. And with only, about an hour and 15 left in the run, I'm sure with 3.5 seconds of lead, it's got to be Jover, right? Neither of our runners able to get the Shine Break to Shine Spark up this room. Not a huge time loss, but definitely a little bit of swag lost. Everybody say hi to Bob. Bob, of course, the quote-unquote unskippable missile that we've only found 2 ways to skip. One of which is North America only and involves out of bounds, and is how we have 0% as a category, and on the Japanese version you can actually do a ridiculous series of jumps with a Shine Spark and go through a Super Missile Garen. Our runners both picking up their Super Missiles. Are either of them going to get Data Spark? They are not. Now we're going over, and everyone get your cat jams ready. We are going to hear for a split second Some of the best music in the game. And this fight against Box, this is just where Metroid Fusion ends, I've heard. Looks like Flash going for what I've dubbed tackle box strats, where you deboost into box in order to get all of your shots. Ron going for a more traditional strat, where you jump and let out a couple charge shots of missiles, and then missile it before it has a chance to go left. The important part is killing Box toward the right side of the screen, because it has to walk all the way over to the point where it jumps up. And now our runner's just going to be heading out of Sector 6. Box is back in storage. And we'll get ready for some more text. On Ron overshooting a little bit, not getting a speed keep here. Those frames are not getting saved. And we're gonna get another moment here. Okay, Flash has extended the lead to just shy of 7 seconds at this point, as our runners have gone through sectors 1, 2, 4, 3. So of course now we're going to 6. Because we don't want to go to Sector 5. It's too cold in Sector 5. Way too cold in Sector 5. You know, Samus might be the best repairwoman in the galaxy. She doesn't like the cold. This is where the game introduces Blue X, which until we get Varia Suit, if we come in contact with these X, they do damage to us, and it can add up very quickly. Flash with a great, well-placed spark to get through the room, as well as taking out the last enemy so it can't hurt him on the way in. We'll see our runners falling down here, dropping a bomb to open up a pathway to a missile that we're going to get way later. It does save, I forget what fraction of a second, in order to pick up those missiles in cleanup. But also the missiles that they didn't pick up yet and won't be picking up on the way out of the sector allow for better movement through the revisit of Sector 6 toward the end of the game. Well, flashbacking that up nicely, getting the bomb over in the corner. A lot of runners do an aerial bomb setup that's prone to launching us, and we're going to get our second SAX skip of the run. A few different strats here, so let's see which one the runners are going to go with. Looks like Flash opting to shoot the SAX to get its attention and then go over it. Oh, Ron getting hit a little bit early here, but able to get through. Trying to do a strat where you jump over the SAX and get frozen as a ball onto some crumble blocks and fall down while frozen, which is very hype. Not a great pattern in the wine cellar here. Now we're going to go to the data room and pick up our Varia suit. I'm sure nothing can go wrong with this. Commentator's curse. Random Corex decided to come along and steal the Varia suit. I'm sorry, runners. Ron getting the door fix going into this room. The trick with the Mega Core is it's only vulnerable to charge beam. We want to get inside of it so that we hit all of the particles at once, and then 6 super missiles will take out this core. Flash first to pick up the Varia suit, the best looking suit in the entire Metroid series, I've heard. Neither runner trying to go for a frame perfect bomb jump in this game. I mean, it's the big race, Herc. What did you expect? I think it's really interesting seeing these runners hitting such similar paces while opting to take different parts of the game with safety strats versus faster strats. But yeah, we've been hovering at less than 10 seconds of separation between these runners for pretty much the whole run. And these puffers, absolute worst enemy in this game. I don't think it's close. They hit you, they knock you out of the way, you hit them and they throw out more hurt boxes. And once again, we're gonna lay a bomb to open up a path for later. And just try to get out of here. Oh, Ron opting to pick up the missiles on the way out of Sector 6. Might have a worse puffer pattern later in the run. And we've got more text to mash. So the real question, chat, who do we think's taking this race? Does Flash hold on to the lead, or do we think Ron can bring it back? Oh yeah, Herc pointing out that these two have the closest time in their PBs of all the matchups in the group stage, and not gonna lie, knowing how close this race is gonna be, one of the reasons why I had this one circled on my calendar. We'll ignore the fact that it's also circled on my calendar because it's one of the few that I have the day off for. We're finally gonna go into Sector 5 now that we picked up our mustard suit. We can handle the cold a little bit better. Let's see what strats our runners opt to go for in Sector 5 here. You know, I think the randomizer might not be working on this one because all of these items do seem very, very randomized. And for some reason, Adam keeps interrupting us as well. Yeah, we've got new developments in the Metroid Fusion randomizer in the works, so we don't have a time frame, but we've got some stuff cooking. Speaking of cooking, our runners are cooking as they are running through Sector 5 here. Going to open up the level 3 security locks to let us get to yet another data room. And real talk, who puts their data room in the freezer? And both of our runners are opting to pick up their ice missiles here in Sector 5, not opting to go for the traditional strat to forget that and try to run out of the sector and lose a bunch of time. Flash the first to go after the 200 missile, opting to kill the pancake there, giving an earlier Ripper spawn here at the expense of, if anything goes wrong for Flash, he's going to have to reset the room. Nothing going wrong though. Ron getting through a little bit more quickly, not having to wait for the Ripper to go all the way through a cycle. Nice freezes, getting them timed just well enough to not fall through the cargo there. And Ron has eaten in a lot to Flash's lead with the 200 missile room. And I think we're going to see a couple of lead switches in our future here at some point. Maybe not yet, but definitely a very thin margin here.
Emergency in Sector 3. Emergency in Sector
Wait,
3.
there's something wrong with Franker Z?
Emergency in Sector 3.
Why is the screen all red?
Emergency.
I'm scared. I didn't know this was in the game. I thought it ended at box. And we're actually going into arguably my favorite segment of the run. I just love the movement in the emergency segment. We're looking very synced, Nacho. Very, very synced. That is from the elevator transition, Flash with a 2-second lead, it looks like. Give or take a half a second. Yeah, both of these runners with very clean runs going on. The fun part of the sync too is we're seeing them do slightly different strats in different situations and watching how that is causing an ebb and flow here, with the runners being able to lose a little bit of time to safety, then catch it back up. And Ron back in the lead. So what times do we think we're going to see on the wide core finish here? It might come down to I-beams here, and Flash taking the lead again because Ron getting a nice complement of beams, Flash getting through first try. Getting the double-double, although missing the sweet spot. We're not saying Flash is getting carried here, but Flash might be getting carried. Ron with some beautiful jumps getting through the room going in reverse here. As our runners continue making their way back out of Sector 4. Or Sector 3. I don't know numbers. And that is a 2-second difference at the latest door transition. And going up one of the most beautiful rooms to pull off well in the game. The red tower climb, very satisfying, just if you can get it down. I say this as if I've ever gotten it more than once. Let's go check in with Adam, see what he needs us to go fix next. All I know is that these repair women have been leaving quite a few doors unfixed here. I think that might come out of her paycheck. Now we're getting ready to go visit the animals. What kind of RNG do we think our runners are going to get from the animals? The animals can escape the room when we open it very quickly, or they can just decide to go for a few laps here. Oh yeah, Monkey, sorry. I don't have the attention span to count beams. Very bad. Let's see if our runners are able to pull off Impossible Strat. Flash getting halfway through it. Ronald also getting halfway through Impossible Strat, backing it up nicely. Oh, Flash missing the storage, and that's going to give Ron the chance to retake the lead here. Always feels bad having to climb up the stretchies in that room. You have to be very careful with your positioning in the animals room for storing up your speed for the spark. And our runner's getting some complimentary missiles on their way out of the animals room. And that is about a 4.5 second advantage for Ron at this point. These runners seem just absolutely determined in this race to not be more than 10 seconds apart from one another at any point. Do we think we're going to get the first tie? Okay, and we've made it through the elevator episode here, and getting back into some gameplay. We're back in Sector 5 because for once the X haven't destroyed a data room immediately after we used it. And we can't guarantee a free personal best, but we can get the next best thing here and get some power bombs. Ooh, both runners just barely missing that ledge. Love the show of solidarity here. And that looks like 3 seconds of difference with ice missiles here. And both runners opting to freeze the Ripper on the way into the E-tank, not going for the more false stall or a precise wall kick. And Uncle Iroh, I'm sure that Sector 5 nothing bad will happen to this. Getting to use one of our brand new power bombs here in order to find a new floor. Now runners coming into this room, laying the power bomb high. That way we can also open the ceiling in order to get quicker access to these rippers in order to climb up and grab one more item. Getting a nice set of power bombs. We will get up to 74 power bombs in this run, and we need about 10 of them. And by 10 of them, I mean the 10 that we start with. But shoutouts to Metroid Fusion for giving us more power bombs than anyone could ever find a reason to use. I have actually been wishing I had time to try to lip read Flash here just to see what he's saying, but for some reason I gotta watch some couple people play a video game or something. Both runners getting through Ripper Road here without any major issues. Flash with the little hop just to make sure that he gets past the crumble block. And now we're just on our way out of Sector 5. That way we can go back to the ship and go home. And our runners have picked up everything in the game, right? And that looks like 5-second lead for Ron going through the elevator here. And for how this race has been going, 5 seconds, pretty big lead. All it takes is one eye door to swing that lead. Our runner's finding some chicken in the freezer. It looks a little expired to me, but I'm no expert here. These power bombs in the maintenance tunnel, one of the common culprits for players ending a run with 99%. And no casualties in Spitter Hallway here. Flash remembering to fix the door and then laying a power bomb at the top of the room for some reason. And shout out to Flash for the JRP jump. I'll be honest, I didn't catch if Ron got it. Now we've been back to the ship, find out that there are some animals there. We're gonna go into the back half of the run where things get a little more interesting. Starting with Yakuza, another great RNG gauntlet here. We've got the I-beams to contend with on the way in, and then we have how many rounds we have to wait for Yakuza to go around the room before we can finally shoot it. Let's see how many beams we get. Ron getting some luck for once. No beams on the way into Yak. And going to just shoot missiles up to catch Yakuza before we can see it. Its mouth is open at the top of the room, leaving it a little bit higher in the grip to come out and getting the one cycle here. Ron with excellent Yakuza RP or RNG. Flash excited to be getting through this quickly as well. Got both 0-1s here, the RNG lining up great. Nice double there from Ron. Flash still on phase 2, Ron keeping a little bit of a lead here. Picking up the worst item in the game, the space jump. It does give us a lot more mobility, but it takes away our ability to wall jump. And what fun is a Metroid game when you can't wall jump? But now continuing through our boss rush, we're going to go into Sector 2 for Nettery. Making sure to avoid the key hunters, as we're not really afraid of any damage that they pose, but they can absolutely just make us go through much slower lines here. Looks like we're getting a traditional SAX skip here, freezing the SAX, both as we go through the first room where we encounter it and in the next room. Flash also opting for the freezing strats. There are newer strats that actually don't freeze the SAX there and are just fast enough to go by it. And Ron laying a power bomb here for some reason and waiting for it to go off. Not sure what that was all about. And no, Uncle, it's not that people hate Nestroid because of no wall jump, it's because Kraid too short. We only like tall Kraid here. One beam for Ron before the door lets him through. And 100% Nettery is just a dream of a fight. Unless you cramp up when you're button mashing. Unlike other categories where you have to really worry about dodging and weaving in power bombs, here you just hold down R, mash, shoot. And look, Nacho, I'm not saying that that's my problem with Kraid. I'm saying that that's the community's problem. No sweet spot for the plasma core, but Ron first to pick up the plasma beam, while Flash still pressing B a whole bunch. Nice double there. We actually have an extension category that uses out of bounds to rush this boss more quickly. And a fun consequence of that is the door in this room is open while you're fighting it, so you can accidentally shoot the door and leave the room while in the middle of the boss fight and fail your nuttery RTA run. Flash opting not to show anyone the recharge room today, probably a little bit more worried about making up the time difference here. And let's see if I can make Ron's timer look a little better. Picking up some items on the way out of Sector 2 now that we have power bombs to open the way for them. Don't worry though, any Sector 2 enthusiasts, we will be returning here one more time in cleanup for yet more items we haven't picked up. There's a reason that rando players are known for checking Sector 2 very frequently. It's that it has a large condensed set of items. Oh, also apparently Sector 5 is about to get destroyed. So sorry to whoever I said it would be fine. Given that I don't know how this game plays out, I didn't know Sector 5 was going to have problems, but it looks like there's something going on in Sector 5 and we're scared about it. And Ron started this Atom text box at 101.30. Looks like finally getting into the double-digit number of seconds of lead. We'll see where Flash is going into that Atom text box. It looks like Ron is going to just go for the Shine Spark. Too much of a coward to try to go for the Nightmare Space Boost here. Also respectable because while it saves a second, it is the hardest trick in the game. Not all of us can be as good as you, Monkey. And it looks like about a 38-second lead for Ron at the moment. Although Flash can still win the race in our hearts if he goes for a Nightmare Space Boost and pulls it off. And can also take back 1 second of that lead. Unfortunately, our runners are trying to go fast and not trying for swag here. As Ron is just tearing through Deep Sector 5. Both of our runners managing to catch the mini fridge on the way down. Easy enough to do, but feels really bad when you miss it. And the real question is, how are we going to see our runners handle the Nightmare E-Tank? You know, most runners you'll see opt for a strat where they just either go for a crumble jump or unmorph as they're falling through a crumble block and just grab a ledge here. I hear Flash uses a different strat though. Ron opting to go fast and just grabbing the ledge, rolling over to the E-Tank, and we're going to get into everyone's favorite Mecha TV Slime Cat Girl, Nightmare. We'll see if either of our runners can get the one cycle on this. A strat that's been recently pioneered in the past year in order to speed up, as a lot of research has gone into Nightmare in that time. Ooh, Ron getting Nightmare a bit low. But also getting through Nightmare while Flash is still just spawning it. Nice double off of the spawn on the Core X. Ron getting the double-double. We get the triple-double. No sweet spot, but Ron's getting purple suit. Excellent nightmare fight there. Flash luring it so that he can go up onto the ladder here. Also good double on spawn. A little bit of weird positioning on the Nightmare core, so only getting a single on the second shot, but able to get the sweet spot here to make up a little bit of time. And so far, from as far as I can tell, it looks like our runners have remembered to pick up everything they've needed to pick up along the way. Ooh, Ron bonking the space boost here. And here's worst room in the game. If you want to know why it's worst room in the game, just look at all this. There's no good way to deal with any of it. Just a bunch of crabs throwing the world's angriest croissants at us. The idea of being 30 seconds ahead, but 99% just sounds heartbreaking. Herc throwing a little bit of shade at Flash's technique on the Nightmare Energy tank. You know, sometimes you just gotta use some intended strats. As Ron with very clean movement, getting down here to level 4 locks, the last ones that we need to worry about. And that was at 106.44. I will say that grabbing the ledge for the Nightmare E-Tank, a lesson that I learned from Herc, completely free. Ron making it through crab battle here. Can we just take a moment to appreciate the just nice vibes of the Underwater Sector 4 soundtrack here? Ron getting held up a little bit in the Thunderdome, but making it out with no major casualty here. The nice thing about Fusion having 20 energy tanks is when you're playing Hundo, it is very hard to die after a certain point. Herc, if you're worried about time loss, Flash just waited for the SAX to leave the room in Sector 2 again. And Ron getting the speed keep going through the cargo, being able to store the spark, keeping it once again, dropping low enough and able to pick up the item behind the cargo here without having to go around the long way. I feel like if we're requiring secret message in the race, I think we also need to make it Mappo. Because, like, if we're making that part of Hundo, then we've got to make the map part of Hundo. Flash also with a very clean Kako room there. And then we're going to do a bit of a time check here again in just a second. It looks like Ron with about a 25-second lead at this point. And here's another infamous item that causes hundo runs to fail. Very easy to forget these power bombs here in the early part of Sector 4 that require power bombs to get to. Solid placement with the second power bomb there to get out of the room. Flash also deciding to actually get 100%. An interesting thought with people bringing up the amount of time lost to various strategies here is if we see a difference of under 11 seconds, we could see those strategies have been the difference in the race. And it's very easy in speedrunning to be like, I'll just do the safer, easier strat because it only saves a couple seconds and it's a race, and then sometimes you lose a race by a couple seconds. Monkey talking about other places for possible time loss here, and just I imagine you could write a full report on missed door fixes here. If anybody wants to know what the door fixes that need to be done are, just go watch Monkey's PB. That said, Ron re-entering Sector 6. I hear that our friend Box might be causing a bit of trouble here and picking up the item that was set up earlier. Flash using the newer strat that saves a little bit of time and gets us some better puffer patterns going through this room typically. Still getting trolled by a puffer though. Not getting the bomb jump, but able to pick up the E-tank very safely. And chat, get ready with your cat jams because we're coming up on it soon. And Xbox will be on screen a little bit longer than the first box was. And chat, I'm not clear on this, but are we allowed to enter without authorization? The game's making it a little ambiguous, and ooh, Ron getting those two puffers right in the path. You hate to see it. And taking a couple of shots on Xbox, so we're gonna go into some bonus time on this fight here. Xbox, a very simple fight, but it does require pretty careful positioning here. Ron getting dropped. If you get a little bit too close, it'll hit you and knock you off of the monkey bars, and then you just run into problems. And here's the one core that we're not going to see anyone trying to go for doubles on. It is possible to set up a double. It is even possible to get it to save time, but it is very difficult. Ron with a clean kill on the core here and picking up the wave beam. Flash with a quick Xbox as well and onto the core already, so looking to pick a little bit of that time back up here.
Warning, no entry without authorization. Warning, no entry without authorization. Warning, no entry without.
And the real question, chat, are our runners going to get the Metroids lined up in a second here? That was a 55-33 I think I saw there. Flash sacking the Metroids for us. Thank you, Flash. And we've got another high five here. (1:15:10) where it fades out in the elevator transition, so we'll use that to determine where Flash is in relation to Ronald here as we run toward everyone's favorite Ridley, and warning in advance for our headphone users. So that is about a 22.5-second difference here. Ron's still in the lead. And you're right, Uncle. It is about time we saw some Metroids in a Metroid game. Running down into the Animorphs room, as Flash picking up the Turian E-Tank. No troll pattern there, and abusing the game to thinking that you hit the Golden Pirates as long as you're facing the same direction as they are. You're supposed to shoot them from behind. We think that's too slow. Ooh, Ron just getting tackled by a space pirate there. No danger from it, but a little bit of a time loss. Those golden pirates just not cooperating the best. Once again, Flash carried by better RNG. And the good news here for each of our runners is these are the last I-doors that we have to worry about. Ron getting 3 beams. I'm sure Flash will get through with none. And headphones warning, Ridley gun scram. It looks like Ron getting a little bit off script. There's a pretty standardized Ridley fight that we've worked out as a community here that can be a bit tricky to execute, but that can get Ridley to be relatively consistent in what we do. Ron with a nice up double on the screw core here and getting a good sweet spot to pick up the screw attack. And just like that, with the RNG difference, that is down to a 6.5-second lead. Flash making up a lot of time by not getting 3 beams and by having a cleaner fight. And I think it's really fitting for a hundo race to be this close going into cleanup, because cleanup is clearly what we come to this category for. Well, unless we're flashfrost, in which case we come to this category to get carried by RNG, apparently. And now time for cleanup, because once again, we are in fact a repair and maintenance technician. So we've got to clean up the station and get all of the items that are laying around. Those are going to be tripping hazards. OSHA wouldn't like that. Yeah, we love to see 6.5 seconds of separation going into cleanup. Ron opting to go all the way into the save room here. Flash going a little bit more quickly, and as Chad's saying, so much for 6.5 seconds. It's more like 4 seconds at this point. I don't know the runners well enough to know if they have any particularly different strats that they do during cleanup, but we'll find out. I think we need a category for just every possible space boost, to be honest, but that's just me. Yeah, especially Sector 6, already a critical segment for cleanup, let alone with different strats going through it. The real challenge with space boost percent would be like, what even count as all of the space boosts that are worth doing? Runners high-fiving and baby's first wall jumps. An item meant to be a wall jump tutorial early in the game. We say heck that and just come back here with space jump. And are we going to see anyone get a space boost here going into lava dive? Flash is going for it. Ooh, but just catching his ankle on a rock there. That sync up aside from needing to go pick up a missile tank. Both of these runners very invested in the outcome of this race, and we are not going to see any holding back here. There, Ron with a space boost in Sector 3. The sad part is I think we're getting double counterclockwise cleanups here and no clockwise. Looks like Flash a little bit cleaner getting into the power bomb tank as well. Ooh, no attempt at the bomb jump, even though we've got a setup for this one. Flash missing the bomb jump, but respect for going for it. Yep, and Ron confirming this is going to be a counterclockwise cleanup, Sag. Oh wow, did not know that we've got two runners on PB pace here. Not surprised though, this has been a clean run on both sides. Little commentator's curse there. Some crumble blocks giving a little bit of trouble for Ron, just giving Flash time to narrow the gap a little bit further. Thank you, Monkey in chat, pointing out that Flash is 41 seconds ahead of PB pace. Ron 22 seconds ahead. As our runner's going up the express elevator here. Good job fixing the door there, Ron. If I'm counting right, that looks like that was 8 seconds of difference there. Herc, you about to get bopped here. as our runner's going through to the back of Sector 3. And so far, to the best I can tell, everyone has remembered everything so far. I know the paces we're on now are definitely looking a little bit better than earlier races today on this channel. Ron going for the classic 2 freeze strat on the way into the speed trap. Flash freezing the pancake only to immediately destroy it. Latest lead check is Ron in the lead by 6 seconds. And now going back into Sector 6, and a lot of us have been saying that Sector 6 can make a big difference here. What kind of strats are we going to see from our runners? Are we going to see any of the swag space boosts? Going behind the Mimic, picking up a missile here. Flash working on the lineup, and are we going to get the space boost? Unfortunate miss there for Flash, but still able to get all the way into the room. Quick backup to get the item here. Still making a little bit of time up over Ron, getting the space boost entry to the room. As Flash has taken the lead. Of course, there is always Pillar Highway as the great equalizer in Sector 6, as well as some possibility for shenanigans in the Run Crumbler or in space. Monkey, we are on Flash's audio. Also, good call, Nacho, on the difference of the Mimic tank. Flash going for the bomb strat into the Run Crumbler, not going for the frame perfect crumble jump. You hate to see it. But it is a much safer and less frame perfect trick, so I can understand why a coward would go for it. And Ron showing off what happens when you go for the crumble jump, but getting it second try. Flash opting to go for the safer spark into Pillar Highway rather than trying to space boost into it. I think it's a smart play, especially on a run on good pace. You've already gotten one space boost to go decently, and going through Pillar Highway can hurt a lot more. Ron a little bit lower on the spark, but still going to be able to get into the E-Tank. Very nice high five from our runners there as well. And Run is still in the lead, but this is a sketchy lead. That's about 3.5 seconds for Run. Everybody say hi to Sector 4. Say bye to Sector 4. Yeah, the Sector 4 cleanup strat. Very difficult strat. I don't know, sometimes I just decide I want to space jump up the room instead of just falling. Our runners linking up in Crumble City here. And one room that's coming up that could have big implications for the race, we've got Zazaby Speedway coming up. We also have Ripper Tower, which either involves RNG or getting a frame-perfect crumble jump. This is the moment where Herc's in chat, realizing that he's going to be bopped by both runners. Sorry to steal your chance at a PB earlier, Herc, but I unfortunately need to cancel that raid. I know if nothing else, I've done it with a crumble jump. It doesn't mean that the right strat is. Maybe that's why I'm bad at it. As Flash showing us how Ripper Tower can be a great equalizer. Ron opting for a slightly safer play with the freeze and taking the lead back from Flash. Flash resetting the room, not freezing the Rippers though. Still deciding to go for the respin, and Flash has got it. But at what cost? Dark Spy, you can't call a run until we get through the speedway. Admittedly, for everyone saying that he just sacrificed the lead for the swag strat, we would also all be giving him heck if he just went for the safe strat with freezing it. Ron picking up the bottom item of the speedway here, not needing to worry about getting a good weave now. Oh, and Ron just barely catching the top of that ledge. I'm not sure that I can agree with the safe strap being harder. Meanwhile, Flash locking in here to get through Zazaby Speedway. Doing the double jump and missing the ramp, so gonna have to wait for the bonk animation to get out of the room. And with that, our runners do have 99% of the items. Ron with a nice red X there. Not going to need it with the kind of armament we have, but you still always like to see it. Solid door fix there from Ron. And is opting to pick up the last item in the game. After a little bit of a mishap going in the wrong hole in the wall. And now time to have a seat. We're going to be talking to Adam for a while. We've been running around the whole station avoiding navigation rooms so that he can't lock us in. But we've got the longest text exchange in the game now. Flash also talking to Adam. This could still come down to ice core doubles. This could still come down to getting low height. This is peak gameplay here. Ron out of the room at 138.43. Flash at 59, so 16 seconds separate these two runners. Going to be a pretty big deficit to come back from Flash, but Ron not getting the stun lock locked in here on SAX, so giving a chance. Getting the horizontal, whereas Flash already through SAX phase 1. Slightly ahead of Ron on that. And that's just how the Metroid Fusion crumbles. Ron dispatching the most cursed horn out in the game a little bit faster. So we've had a double lead switch in the middle of one boss. We've had two doubles here and getting the sweet spot after the single. And what is the sync up? Good job getting the door fix there, Flash.
Propulsion sequence activated.
And that is literally 1 second apart. Ron is ahead, or No, I'm, yeah, ahead by a second. Running past the elevator here. This sync up. That is gonna hurt if running past the elevator is the difference in this race. Ron getting the door fix, helping get a little more time back. No low height for either runner. What is this race?
To destination.
Let's see how this race goes. And Ron is going to be the first one through the fight here and going to take the race with an official racetime.gg time of 1:42.05. Get your GGs in chat and get your other GGs in chat here for Flash, finishing with a 1:42.13. On the plus side, that's just over 8 seconds, so it's not purely down to sack skip. So very respectable here with a pair of low 142s. Let's see if we can get our runners into the booth here, because we have just witnessed a race. Don't you hate when you miss the 140 queue? Ron, we were afraid that you running past the elevator there might have been the difference in this run. It looks like we are about to be joined in the booth by Ron. Just a moment while he's getting set up. And chat, get your questions ready if you've got anything that you would like to ask our runners. And I'll go ahead and get Flash the link to get in here. Just a second on that. All right, yeah, they're just working on finishing getting set up, and we are now joined by Flash and Ron. GG, how did y'all enjoy the big race?
GG.
Well, I knew it was going to be close, so. He and I have raced.
If you want to know how close it was the
like
lead changed twice in the SAX fight.
Oh, did it? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I just couldn't get the charge shot.
I didn't get my hopes up in SAX because I knew I was on by like 20 seconds because of my debacle in Ripper Tower. So I was like, if he screws up horribly, then maybe. And I saw that he was screwing up horribly, but I wasn't getting my hopes up. I just was like, don't screw up Omega.
Yeah.
And then Omega happened.
He was ahead of me at the beginning of cleanup because I get an item later on in Sector 2, the missile. So he was like 5 or 6 seconds ahead of me pretty much the whole cleanup until the Ripper Tower.
Yeah, Ripper Tower is what screwed me up. Because honestly, like, I'm fine. Like, I told myself before the race, if it's close like this and I lose, so be it. I want to put on a show. You know what I mean? And that was my best run ever until that.
Yeah.
So Ronald PB's by 7 seconds, I'm assuming, right? Or 8 seconds?
Yeah,
How much?
Yeah, 7 seconds.
There you go.
I was plus
Herf
18
was in chat
Warp
sweating the bop that on one point you were both on pace for that bop.
I have little doubt I'm going to do it. That run was, I had bad RNG that run and I was kicking butt. So aside from Yakuza giving me the gift from God, I just choked them too.
You actually both got the same RNG on Yakuza.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but like I saw like
I think it was the 0-1.
Yeah, and I got a 0-1, so I was like, oh, he must have gotten like a 0-1 or a 1 or 0-1 or a 1-1 or something like that. So
yeah.
But yeah, I was plus 18 at Morph. I was like behind by like 12, 13, 14 seconds. But then I golded Sector 1 and just kept saving time.
Yeah, honestly, I
all
was
the
in the
way
green
until
the
power
entire
bombs.
run. I was in the green the entire run until Sector 2's cleanup. This one's
Oh
gonna
yeah,
haunt
we
me.
actually saw Flash you get into the room first.
Hold on,
and while
Herc.
you were working on it, Ron
Herc
came
was-
into the room, cleaned up, and got out.
Oh,
Yeah, I did it the safe way.
man comes
That's
into
how
the
I've
race
always done
36 minutes late and claims my RNG isn't bad. Yikes.
Yeah, I had decent RNG, and then I got 3 beams at Nightmare and 3 beams at Ridley, which like made it like I guess a little bit above average or average. So like it was like 10 or 12 beams or something like that. But
Yeah.
I had like 5 jumps and 1 round yak, so it's ended up being like average.
Emergency was the most visible part of RNG difference because we actually saw that lead to a lead change at the eye door.
You had an eye door, so you had eye doors because I think I had 0.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it was 0 for
was
you,
the
Flash,
animal.
and 3 for Ron.
yeah, and then I
Yeah,
had
I
a
think-
freaking ton for.
I had a really
Totally.
good split there though, because I saved a second on my PB, even though I got 3 beams on wide.
I saw our lead also changed at the ice missile or the missile after ice. I got a bad ripper spawn there, so I had to wait a few seconds. Yeah, I can see the time change there. I don't know.
think
I
it
was
was
watching it,
too.
so you know, I feel like there was like 10 lead changes at points. So
Did you have God Animals? Like I didn't see it.
no, I actually messed up the shine break there.
I saw that, but then you got like
My animals were
you didn't lose
decent.
time on me.
I think the main reason is because the way I split that, my split is part of escape, right? So I follow what Glenn does. Glenn splits when the adult Decora bows its head. So I split there. So yeah, it wasn't the best animals, but I think part of it was due to the fact that my escape was pretty good out of 3. Aside
Thought you
from
were gonna
like,
lose more time, like,
yeah,
versus me than what you did. 'cause
I
you
only
just
lost
did.
2 seconds there, surprisingly. I was like, oh, okay, I'll take it. Yeah, it was exactly 2 seconds to the T, to the T. So
I should have easily won 141 that, but
yeah, me too, dude.
oh well, mistakes happen. It's hundo, so like
Yeah,
you can get
honestly,
six-packs fight. That's literally an 80%.
and it's crazy because Ripper Tower's respin is honestly not a troublesome thing for me. It was just a rare choke in that room. I usually get that within 1 or 2 tries every single time. You just have to double tap A. That's all you have to do. But I just couldn't time it. So this one sucks, but I'm happy for you, Ronald. You deserve it, dude. That run
Yeah,
was
GG.
incredible. And
We
it's like the
both
4th
played
or
really
5th.
well.
It's the 4th or 5th race we finished within 10 seconds, so which I absolutely love. So here's to more.
Oh, there's a reason I signed up for commentary the second I saw this one go on the books.
Yeah, I was talking to Monkey about it, and we agreed. Like, aside from maybe a few more, like this might be the closest race of the tournament. So if you watched it, you were treated to a roller coaster.
We did a community race before the tournament started, and I think I lost to Flash by like 4 seconds or something.
No, it was 7, I
7.
think. Yeah, it was 7. And this one was 8.
Yep.
That's amazing. Ignore the race time. I was so devastated at my joke, I forgot to click. So it says like a 146, but we all saw it. So 142.
You fixed that right as I was about to ping you.
All right. Yeah.
Shoot. I've been just sitting here. Whoever verifies my PP is going to be like, dude, hurry up.
Oh, yeah. Do your verify. Yeah, Ronald, verify.
Oops. Thought you did it. I was like, I'll do it in the middle of the interview, and then I just forgot.
Okay, so this was a PB for you?
Yeah,
GG
7
That's
on
7
that.
seconds.
or 8
Mhm.
seconds.
Oh, and wait, your PB was a 142.13, wasn't it?
Yeah, I went from minus 26 finishing cleanup to minus 8, which is bad. Yeah.
That's amazing, dude. What the heck? My biggest fear was just being bad the entire run because I was like, if Ronald's at his A game, I got to be at my A game just so we can be close.
I played so bad in the first like 6 minutes. I was really worried about that. But then I got a gold on sector 1 with like a beam or 2, I think.
Bam.
And so after that, I was like, all right, we're good.
If you want to feel a little bit better about how you played, just look at the earlier race we had from today on this channel. You might feel a little better after that one.
I'm sorry about that, by the way. It was fun to watch the 4 bit, so
Oh, here we
Fusion,
go.
go to
race-
Fusion.
You still have 2 races, right?
Yep.
All right, good. We still got more races in the first round, so I'm excited. Oh,
Gotta get ready to get that Herc Bop.
there you go.
We both can do it, so.
I only need to cut off, I think, 13 minutes from my PB to do it.
I believe. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, like in the beginning, I think I was just watching the. Like, I messed up my climb, which I literally never do because I do a safe climb. And then I just kept watching this like the restream, like too much. And so I was like, dude, just stop watching the restream. Just watch it when you're in elevators and just pay attention to the game. So yeah, I went from +2, Morphball +18, and Charge Beam +8, Bombs +6, High Jump -1.6, Speed Booster -9. So that was a late change too in Cirrus because I missed the second shot. I still 2-rounded, but I missed the second shot, so you caught up there.
It was nice that y'all threw in those little drops just to, have the lead change a little bit, make it a more interesting race.
Right? It's like, yeah, it's totally on purpose that I made those mistakes. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
We all know, anytime we throw in this community, we're always throwing for content.
Mm-hmm. And that's the one time I knew against Ronald, I was like, I'm sorry, no recharge room today, guys. You'll have to look for it yourself.
I expressed my disappointment.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was a 108.00.2.
What?
It looks like we are going to need to get the channel ready for a race that's coming up here pretty quickly, though. So,
All right.
Flash, Ron, do you two have any closing thoughts here before we give the channel back?
No. Guys, keep watching the race. Ronald, good luck. Congrats to advancing.
Yeah, dude, you played awesome in this tournament, Flash. GG's, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you both for putting on the big race. Everyone keep an eye on what's going on Speedgaming here. We've got some SMZ3 coming up, some SM Rando Mystery Tournament, Pokemon Crystal, and Link to the Past Rando all coming up this evening. So a quick look over at speedgaming.org/schedule will keep you in the loop. And with that, I've been Autumn Out of Habit showing you the race here between Flashfrost and ronaldrage, and we will see you next mission.
Shout out to my follower.
Bye-bye.